Most traders don't lose because they're dumb or they don't understand something. They lose just because they're stuck in the same cycle. And you guys know the cycle, right? You nail the setup, but then your stop loss gets wigged out and then price runs without you, probably in the direction of your original trade idea. Or you take profit too early and you watch it rip another 50, 80, 100 points and you let your drawdown go, even further, 500 points in drawdown, right? You chase these entries, you're forcing ideas that were never there. You're forcing trades, you get emotional, and then you're blowing it up. Most of you guys are probably falling in this trap of memorizing trade setups instead of actually seeing the market as an idea for yourself. Like if I said, come up with a trade idea for me, would you be able to do that? Would you be able to look at the chart and say, oh yeah, based on this trend, based on XYZ, I have a trade idea. Here it is. And if you put your stop loss in a particular place, I'm going to ask you, I'm going to say, why'd you put your stop there? Well, I put my stop there because it was taught by ICT, SMC, ABCD, EFG. No, I learned it from Wagyu beef stick. That's right, Wagyu beef stick. So, all right, look, in all seriousness, I'm pumped because I'm coming off of 8 days of straight wins, but I know not everybody out there is winning like this. So the reason I'm making this video is to just share how I did it and how we're doing it as a community. Like I have so many success stories, guys. It's insane. And I do want to let you know right at the top here, there is a superpower in trading. There is a superpower. Before I just say it, I'm going to say it in a minute. Pause the video or just listen to me for the next minute or so and then think about it and put the comment. What do you think the superpower is? I want to see what you guys think. Okay. I'm going to give it away in the video, but I want you to don't cheat. Okay. Don't wait for me to say it. Type it right now. What's the superpower in trading? Okay. Back to the charts. I'm going to break this down for you, but I want you to see something real quick. This is today's trade, right? There's a bunch of trade ideas in here. I took 2 out of these trade ideas, but all of them are winners and they're all using Crazy Horse, which is our custom strategy using the opening range breakout. Here's yesterday, in and out of the market, boom. Here's the day before, a couple trade setups, boom, boom. Here's the day before, a flurry of trades, all winners, bam, bam, bam. I think there were 4 that day. Day before that, in and out. Day before that, in and out. Day before that, in and out. Day before that, a little flurry of trades, took a little bit longer, but all of them winners. I mean, I could just keep going here. The day before that was like a $4,000 day. It was awesome. In and out. So I want to show you how we're doing it so that way you can start ripping the markets and having like this Jedi mindset feel, which I totally feel like I'm cheating the last 10 days because this has been insane. But the reality is, like, coming off the heels of today, I'm just seeing the market in a better light because I'm in a good mood. I win most of the time, and that's because of the strategy. Like, I'm in a good mood. And I think a lot of people are not in a good mood. Like, they don't have the patience, which is the superpower that it takes to just stick with something for a little while. And that's the superpower, is patience. And I want to explain how you can hack patience so that you can start winning. I'm going to break all this down. You're going to understand all of this. Isn't that crazy? So you ready? Are you ready? If you can't sit through a 10-minute video, you got a problem, dude. You're probably not going to be profitable trading. So just bear with me while I break this down. And that way you understand what I'm doing, okay? So the first thing I'm doing is I'm marking the high and the low of the opening range. And I'm just waiting for a 5-minute candle to break outside the range. That's like step 1. Very simple. Now, how I'm getting my take profit and TP level to begin with is I'm on auto. I make sure the chart is on auto. And then I basically use the long and short tool in TradingView. And what that does, when I pop this on the chart, it basically takes into account the visible range within my volume. So all the volume in my visible range is taken into account, and it's adjusting the take profit and the stop loss level for me. But I'm not always using a hard stop. And this is where it gets really interesting because I'm using dynamic money management. This is the key. This is what turned me into an extremely deadly trader. I'm profitable because of this. I'm not profitable necessarily because of the setup, although the setup is cool, but I think there's a lot of different setups that could work in trading using dynamic money management. And I know this because I've studied a lot of the greats like Jesse Livermore and Richard Dennis and Paul Tudor Jones, and the list goes on. And they all use dynamic money management. And what that consists of is a couple of things. It consists of grading. So you want to be able to grade your setups, okay? It consists of ladder ordering. And basically ladder ordering is A dollar cost averaging in, you've heard of that, right? That's the easiest way I can explain ladder ordering, except you're doing it in particular areas that aren't just random numbers. All right. They're not just random on the chart, and they're not evenly spread out like a bot would just like continuously add risk to your position until you're dead. That's not ladder ordering. So we use a custom indicator, this custom indicator right here. And so if price were to run against us here, we use these MAs to ladder into our position if we're wrong. It's actually like 60% of the time we're in and out. And what this is going to help you with is sizing, right? Your sizing is so incredibly important in trading. You're either going to size up or down based on the setup. And a lot of people don't know that, man. If I were to ask you, what do you do with this setup here? What are you grading it as? You'd be like, I don't know, A, B, or C. I have no idea. And by the way, everything that I'm showing you here is inside of my school group. And right now it is $1. And I had to make it $1, guys, because I was getting too much spam, too many scammers and spammers coming in here. One day last week, I dealt with 15 spammers, and I was like, dude, if people aren't willing to pay $1, I'm sorry, that's not for you. But it's $1. And we put together an entire roadmap for you guys. There's almost 10,000 members in here. And the roadmap is right here, right? So you go to the classroom and you just watch these videos. You don't skip anything. And look at the calendar. Like, I'm trading Monday through Friday live. So if you want to come trade live with me, there is another community that I have 160 members in here and growing. And we've gone, like I said, 10 days straight. If you want to trade live with me, you're going to get a different experience there. But basically, let's go back to the chart. All I'm doing is I'm getting in on the close of this 5-minute candle in the direction of whatever side of the orb that price closes on that's my temporary daily bias. So my temporary daily bias is up, right? And I'm not just going to let go of that idea. Like, price literally needs to come down here and break structure or close on the other side of the orb for me to just change my decision. I'd be a weak leader if I just, I'm going to change my decision because price just went down a little bit. No, I'm holding on to it, but I'm not stupid either. I know that today is a no news day, right? And so from a fundamental standpoint, even though I'm bullish overall, my high time frame is bullish as well. I'm not ignoring high value targets like previous daily high and low, previous session highs and lows, previous weekly, monthly, fair value gaps that we might be running into on higher time frames, etc. Right? And right here was previous daily high. So what happened? Price went up and grabbed previous daily high, and I set a break even stop right here, and I took 80% out at this previous daily high. I took a partial W, and then price came down, hit my break even stop, and started to consolidate. And that's why I have this consolidation range. Now, how do I know it's consolidation? It's just a series of candles that don't break a particular range, right? And so this is not a science, it's an art. So your consolidation might be a little different than mine. This is where I see the majority of that trading. You can go down to a lower time frame and see it a little clearer, whatever. Now, why would this be a trade right here? Let me move this over. Why would this be a trade? Let me show you, okay? I told you you're gonna understand this entire thing when I'm done. First of all, what's our daily bias? Up, right? How do we know that? 5-minute candle close above the range. So when we put on our custom indicator, because this candle closed below the center line, that is a trade. So that's a trade idea. And I gave today a C setup day, right? C, that means lower sizing. And the reason why, because there's no news today. So less probability, less volume, more choppy. There's also something else. This is some alpha I'm going to give you. You guys ready? This is for all you orb traders. So I've used 5 years of using the Nasdaq to back test or to give me statistics on the orb. Now, 7 days in a row, we've had no flip days. So today, statistically, based on the last 5 years of data, statistically, we have less than a 3% chance to not have a flip day. So where was my head? I want to go up, but I'm protecting myself because I think we're going to flip. And that is exactly what happened. Now, so this secondary trade, same way that I got my stop before, same way that I got my take profit. I didn't take that trade, but I know a lot of people in our community did. And that was an easy win. And they're typically taking their profit right there at that trade. Now, what was this trade? Well, trading is probabilities, correct? And the orb acts as support and resistance. So this right here becomes resistance once you break into the orb. And you can see price had basically a choppy auction into the orb, and then it finally had some price acceptance here and started to move down. So this to me showed me the bodies of the candle never closed above the range. we're still inside the orb. So I went ahead and took this trade right at the top. And the most likely spot is to test the other side of the range. And that's what this little circle is. This is what I do live, guys. So I literally do this in real time. Okay, so as we're cruising down, we create what's called a shelf. Now, I told you you're going to understand everything on this chart, right? Shelves are prior swing points that have been broken. They come from the body of the candle right here to the wick. Let me play out the next candle. Okay, you see how this has a fair value gap on this next candle right here? So there's a little fair value gap right here. A shelf is the body to the wick, including the fair value gap if there is one in that zone. The shelf allows us to see whether a trend is intact. Now, price hit our price target, and let me show you what else happened, okay? Was this shelf disrespected? No. The body of this candle went up and it closed underneath the shelf, right? So we're still good. Price moves down. It moves down further. Now, what is this trade all about? You ready? Let's not ignore something. Number one, we closed on the opposite side of the 15-minute range. Now, a lot of times, that's going to mean that this trade right here, which wasn't on the board, I'm just seeing this now, actually. I apologize, but this is a trade idea. This is what we teach. If you close a candle body on the other side of the range, you can flip. And that would have been another win. That's wild. That would have been another win. But what else is down here? We have our custom indicator. And at the bottom of the bands is another place to take a long trade. Now, this wouldn't have been as good a position. That might have been even a loss if you were going with a hard stop. But reality is, this was a 30-minute shelf. And shelves are fractal. So check this out. This 30-minute shelf, this is the consolidation zone right here, right? Then you can see where that zone was broken because there's typically volume. Candles have volume when they break structure and when they leg up or down. And so we mark this out. There's the top of these candles with the bodies and then this wick right here from this candle that moved up. So we're going to mark all that out. That's our 30-minute shelf. And guess what? That was another trade setup based off of the shelf. So we're using fractal timing as well to get setups, and that would have ran all the way to the highs. So really good risk reward off of that trade. So we're grading, we're doing laddering, we're sizing differently. We're using our dynamic money management, and we're trailing without a TP level. Have the TP levels in mind, but dude, try to squeeze more out of your trades, because the number one problem that traders have is they take little tiny little wins and then they let their losses become ginormous. So anyways, ladies and gentlemen, if you want to learn this, come in. I got it all for you. You can check it out. 10 days of winning. I grew my count by 15,000 this week. Let me show you where I'm at real quick. I'm at 168. I am proud of that, dude. That is 68% on this account. And I haven't even traded for probably more than a couple of months total, because I've been so wrapped up in trying to pass props and showing that. So I hope this video gave you value. I hope that you learned what everything is on the screen here. And if you don't know it, that's fine. Come learn it. We got your back. The community is awesome. And I'll see you on the other side.